Good morning, everyone. My name's Peter Towers. I'm the Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this webinar today where we're going to look at diversifying accountancy services. Why would you do it? I'm joined today by a very capable and experienced human resources, workplace health and safety and Fair Work Australia expert, Jordan Lowry, the Managing Director of Blackstone Business Group. How are you today, Jordan?
Great, Peter. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we're going to work through the issues relative to diversifying accountancy services. And Jordan's going to be making some expert commentary on various aspects of what's included. So I'm just going to go back and we'll just start on our PowerPoint slides and we'll then come back in a moment. So what are your firm's points of difference? I think this is the first challenge accountants have got, is looking at the problem that the marketplace sees. Most accountancy firms look the same. Would you agree with that, Jordan?
I think
accountancy firms the same?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think it's a position that accountants have sort of secured over the years, and it's probably market perception is the biggest thing. Like, we have an understanding of what an accountancy practice does or an accountancy firm does and the value that they offer to us as a business, because each of us has a relationship with our own accountant. And obviously the nature of how we view that relationship is defined by the services that we go to them for. However, as we'll discuss today, that is an ever-changing and evolving beast at the moment. And obviously what that's going to look like in the future is going to be vastly different. And we will see accountancy practices that offer their clients a far greater value add than others based on the things that they can offer. Okay,
so we'll just go back and continue from where we were. Some of the firms around Australia have created industry specializations in a wide range of things. Merino wool, beef cattle, cotton, horticulture, medical practices, dental practices, private hospitals, builders, tradie type businesses. So there's a lot of areas an accountant can be seen to be an expert. This diversification is very important for accountants, but it's also very important for your SME clients, many of whom are looking for a wider range of services. And as Jordan just said, in the aftermath of COVID-19, everything's changed. I participated in a webinar last week conducted by a very experienced marketing expert, and he indicated that his organization had surveyed about 1,000 SMEs and accountants around Australia in the previous 2 weeks. And they had feedback that 81% of those firms had indicated that they believed life was going to be significantly different in their business once COVID-19's over. They basically laughed at the concept. They were going back to January 2020 conditions. So things are changing. What are you going to do in your firm? The Accounting Market Pulse report really brought this to the headlines, because they are highlighted that business advisory services was going to be the new major service area for accountancy firms. But they also made a very crucial finding, I think. Out of the firms that they surveyed, which were large, medium and small, situated all over Australia, only 5% said that they were not going to diversify their services in the next 2 years. Obviously, that means that 95%, sorry, 95%, get the figures right, it's early in the morning yet, 95% of the firms intend to diversify. So what's your points of difference? What difference will the marketplace notice, do you think? Will you have specializations within individual industries? That you're an expert in merino wool, and there is at least one firm in Australia that really started their whole career built around merino wool. And they are now one of the most successful accounting firms in Australia, based in a regional centre in New South Wales. How do you go about earning this expert status? Because I think that's going to be very important for you. Firms need to have a real aim to develop product champions. Not everyone's going to be the expert in debtors or in tradie charge out rate calculations or the personal property securities register or professional service firm charge out rates or retailers or wholesalers, stock mixes with various markups to try to achieve the overall profit. But I suggest that if your firm is going to really meet the challenges, you need to develop your own product champions. And Jordan, one thing we wanted to talk about with you was branding. You see that has been a point of difference, and I just thought we'd go back to you to comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. Obviously, there are a lot of avenues where accountants can provide a value add. But one of those areas is actually branding, business planning, and strategy with their clients. We'll talk about this later, but because an accountant is in this position of a versed expert in their client's eyes, a person of trust who, if there is an issue, usually the person who's in that position of trust is the first that they turn to. Branding and obviously business growth and sustainability. It's something that a lot of businesses are actually doing to try and actually stand out from the rest, to diversify their own services, and obviously only stand out from competitors. So branding for clients and also for accounting firms is really important. There is so much obscurity in the market. Like a 2-minute Google search, there's no shortage of suggested marketing plans, strategies, and ideas. However, a lot of those people will be happy to take your money and there's going to be no return on investment. So I think with an accountant, with the interest of their clients in the front of their mind, is to actually have an understanding of strategies that may work for their clients. Understanding what their client's product is, their target market, is going to prove to be a real value add. It obviously giving them advice in those specific circumstances. So with that, I think, Peter, yes, so we will talk about this today, but accountants actually being content experts or having trusted relationships or relationships with trusted parties who can actually deliver that tailored advice is going to be a massive value add from themselves to their clients, which means there's longevity and sustainability in the relationship between accountant and customer or client.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we'll just go back to the slides and continue on. So the expert status, that means that you need to be able to develop a deeper knowledge about the business than what you might normally have developed from the preparation of annual accounts and income tax returns. The challenge to offer a virtual CFO or even just an accountant's role in one of your clients' organization is that you have to be able to dig down into the figures, understand what how the business operates. What are the key cost centers? What are the key performance indicators? Does the management team or the supervisor or the leading hand, whoever's in charge of a particular activity, do they understand the key performance indicators? Or are they just a heap of mumbo jumbo that they don't understand? If so, it's a waste of time. They need to be trained, but it might mean in the first place, you need to go back to those key performance indicators and write them in everyday English rather than technical jargon. So you need to have a look at some of these things. So you need to have this understanding, as I just said, how does this business really operate? And if the business is in 4 or 5 separate activities, please prepare separate financial accounts for each of those activities so that there is accountability going back to the person running them. Is there a job costing system within the business? And does it work? And is it being supervised? Are financial accounts prepared for each operating component, which I said before? Are there key performance indicators for each operating component? Is there a good inventory system if the business has big investments in stock? Debtors closely managed. Debtors are one of the real problem areas for thousands of small businesses around Australia. Indeed, Australia has the longest debtors days outstanding in the world, according to an international report. And it was, unfortunately, it had to be supported as a fair report by the Australian Government Small Business Ombudsman, Kate Carnell, who called this whole aspect of debtors management as one of the disaster areas for SMEs. Perhaps a bit more attention from accountants would help reduce those debtors days outstanding figures, and in so doing would significantly improve the cash flow of businesses. Do champions prepare articles and speak? I talked a little while ago about developing champions within your firm, but they then need to talk about it, to run seminars and webinars, write articles that can be posted onto social media, newsletters to go out to your clients, to communicate that they understand it. And this will make it a lot easier for younger accountants to be introduced to your clients as being experts, that they understand it, they're champions, and the clients will then have greater trust for them. Do you have expertise relating to, now Jordan, this is something I want you to comment on, workplace health, and I'll just put them up there. So we'll now go back to you, thanks, to comment on.
No worries at all.
Sorry,
Peter.
Yeah, you're back on now. Yep.
Yeah, I got you there. Before we talk on that, I think this is, as we talk about, I want to go into just accountants actually providing that value and to their clients, because I think the greatest threat to accountants who don't diversify now, or what's causing the need to diversify, is number one, accounting has become so automated. Technology has just made automation so easy. The other thing is we're even looking at things such as like offshore outsourcing. So obviously there can be quality issues there, but at the end of the day, business owners in the current market are looking at costs. They're looking at cost saving measures and strategies. And with the wealth of information and technology, we're also becoming, or our clients are becoming, quite ever aware the true value of something. So if something's automated and we're charging exorbitant fees and billing hours, they're going to question that, which means that to justify fees that we may be charging our clients, there has to be some sort of value and strategy there, which means when we talk about an accountant practice or firm having to diversify services, they actually have to be a content expert or have access to experts in I talk about three regulators. So you've got ATO, we've got Fair Work, and then we've got Work Health Safety. When it comes to a business, those three regulators, or that trifecta, are the ones that can actually impact a business in a very negative way, but also in a positive way as well if we do things right. Predominantly, accountants have taken up that ATO. They've dealt with the ATO as a regulator. Now I think there is a real need for them to actually have an understanding of Fair Work and Work Health Safety from a compliance point of view, from managing employees. And that is a landscape that's ever changing. Legislation changes all the time. So being in that trusted position, I think your clients are definitely going to come to the accountants and ask them questions in that space. And a lot of times accountants have actually, they'll palm it off and say, you know what, I'll just call Fair Work, because it's a space that it's, unless you're qualified, a lot of accountants, they shy away from giving that advice based on the ramifications or the liability that can come back upon them. But we're starting to see now accountancy practices building strategic relationships with HR providers, or actually putting content experts on in their own firm or their own, is to actually have someone there that deals with human resources. And it's something that we can add as more billable hours or add value to those clients, Peter. So something we're definitely seeing a shift in.
So does Blackstone Business Group, your company, does it, have you thought about entering into arrangements with accountants really to put someone in-house into their organisation, one of your people or person you've trained?
Yes, Peter, we actually do that remotely. We're one of many providers that are doing that in that HR space, but we actually offer our services to accountants on a complimentary basis, so that the accountant, in the event that there is a question that their clients do raise, We don't even ask to speak with the client directly. Like if the accountant chooses to do so, we can engage in that relationship. But I think you've really got to, in today's market, you've got to give to get back. So what we'll do is we'll tell the accountants or the directors of the practice know that if any of their accountants come to us with a question, it could be a pay rate inquiry right through to, hey, we need to make staff redundant. What's the correct process? Or we've got an employee management issue. How do we go about this? We will offer that advice verbally or in writing, and then they can give that back to their clients. And then should they want to pursue that relationship further or say, hey, you know what, we actually see that you need contracts updated or you need policies or a potential support partner moving forward, we would then chat to them. So, but I think it's really good for accountants to have that, not only as a value add, but as a mitigation of risk.
Yeah. Okay. Righto. Thanks, Jordan. So hopefully our viewers are really getting some benefit out of this as we discuss these strategies of diversification. It's just not a matter of you doing things on your own, is it, Jordan? You know, they can develop a team of other experts to help them. So we'll just go back to the PowerPoints again, and I'll just keep on going through. So I think accounting firms need to be aspiring for this expert status beyond taxation. Obviously, you're already experts in taxation and perhaps insolvency law and financial planning, depending on what your firm's doing. But there are other challenges. The experience that's needed, I think the big item that I've commented in the white paper is there's a need to be interested in how individual businesses operate. It's just not a profit and loss account and a balance sheet and a tax return. You have to have a real interest, an appreciation and understanding, and an awareness of what is happening in the broader business community. There are all sorts of industry associations that your client might be a member of. And if you're going to be offering the virtual CFO service, you may have to be involved in some of those, because if you were the full-time CFO, you probably would be. This period that I spent in a public company as the company secretary and CFO, I was in the meat industry. We were Australia's second largest meat group. I knew nothing about meat, to be honest, when I joined it, but I found out a lot in the 11 years I spent in that organization. It was great experience, but and a lot of it was an awareness of how other organizations operated and what the reason businesses were members of those other organizations, because you were obtaining information, and it was then how that information was used back in the business. So there was a need to make sure that whoever went to meetings reported back. I think it's a good idea for an accountant to sit down and analyze their own experience. And perhaps you got this when you were going to uni or even back in high school. If you were working in stores like Woolworths or McDonald's or Coles or any of the other major businesses that then operate themselves, basically it's very similar to what they believe small businesses operate. The reality is, though, that many small businesses don't do it. So a lot of large businesses set themselves up that they have an area manager and they have managers of their various operations. They normally have an accountant or an office manager and some clerical people to ensure that the daily, weekly, monthly reporting requirements, and that's the cycle they work on. Not only doing something once a year, like a tax return, they're doing things on that cycle of daily, weekly, monthly. So they develop a cut down version of a larger business into a great system for that SME client. Most big businesses try to do this. Most of them do it properly. So why not think about your clients? So the key components, I think, of a cut down version: budgets, vital for each individual unit, weekly performance reports, basically profitability estimates. Sure, you won't know all the information, but you can use estimates. Daily, weekly key performance indicators. And as I said earlier, make sure that whoever the recipient of these reports understand what they're telling them. Monthly financial accounts for each business unit, not consolidated into one P&L. Monthly key performance indicators, monthly comparison of actual to budget, a monthly business review meeting that you could attend to go through it all with your clients so they understand it. An annual strategic planning meeting. And Jordan, one of the thoughts I had here this morning when I was writing some notes was, and we might just go back to you, is looking at, should we have in that item, that list, a team member overview that, because in a larger organization, they would have a senior executive in charge of the whole human resources activity. Should a report on the team, the morale, the training, the absenteeism, the injuries, workplace health and safety issues be going to that monthly business review meeting?
It's, Pete, I think in business, and accountants would agree with this, it's always good to know your numbers. So any numbers are going to be a value add there. I think spending time and understanding your business or a business owner will give you a clear indication of sort of staff morale and the team environment, and especially with things such as working from home. I think getting an indication of employee engagement and productivity is really important. There's a number of apps that can assist us with that. But I do want to weigh in on some of the things that you've previously mentioned there too, Peter, and obviously where accountants can assist their clients. So we think of our client base, and it could be a hairdresser, it could be a large civil construction company, it could be a dentist, right? And they're good at what they do, right? At the field that they focus in a number of times. They're good at cutting hair, they're good at digging holes, they're good at pulling teeth. A lot of times that they actually rely on an accountant to actually make them aware of their numbers and to bring value in the areas that they're not strong in. And a lot of people we see out there, and we've got over 4,000 clients, Peter. A lot of my clients, I spend a lot of time with them individually. They're really good at what they do, whether that be digging holes, building houses. They're really bad business people to a certain extent. That sounds really bad, but the thing is, they really rely on people like ourselves and their accountants to actually be an accountability partner in the areas where they're not as strong. And with that good support network, they actually run really successful and really effective businesses. However, they can't just be relying on a once a year. Let's get together. Let's talk about doing the business planning. Like you said, there should be more regular touch points and engagement, such as, and this goes into that whole value add category, is how often are we touching base and saying, okay, so what's the strategy? Are we having a monthly strategy meeting to say, here's the numbers, where do we do well, and what can we do better moving forward? What's our plan for next month? And that way, when we do our annual meeting and that annual strategic review, you're in a much better position, most likely financially, and with an understanding of the business, as well as your clients' buy-in and engagement. Because if we talk about value adding, being an accountability partner is essential, I think, in the longevity and sustainability of your client and the client and accountant relationship.
Okay, so that's very good. And I like that terminology, accountability partner. I'm writing it down, and I have some of our viewers are also doing the same thing. Incidentally, if you have any questions out of any matter we're discussing, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. We have pre-recorded this interview with Jordan's participation to suit Jordan's timetable and mine. So, but you can most definitely come back to us, and I will forward any questions you've got for Jordan onto him. And at the end of this presentation, we will, I'll ask Jordan to give you his email address, so that if you want to make contact direct, you can do so. Okay, so we'll just go back. Thank you. Empathy. I think empathy is a huge issue in this whole relationship with accountants going out to their clients and saying, we can do more work for you. One of the big issues I found when I was in a listed public company was the what if questions, which most of them come from the CEO, but some come from external public company directors, and some come from the other members of the leadership team. And just as Jordan was just saying about a CEO of an SME client needing to rely on some other people, perhaps external, like a virtual CFO or a human resources consultant or whatever, that's exactly what happens in listed public companies, except that a fair number of those experts happen to be employed full time because there's enough work for them. Now, they might be marketing managers, they might be a chief engineer, they might be a CFO, they might be a planning person, they might be operations. Now, some of them traditionally are full-time jobs in business organizations, but some of them are not. They could have a full-time legal officer, or they will have external people on tap. So it's really no different what we're suggesting, the role that you would play as the virtual CFO, and it's using the technology and the communication systems that are now available. The what if questions, who does your client ask those at present? Your CEO of an SME business, do they contact you about their what if questions, or are they put off by you're not available, they've got to make appointments a week in advance, or they've forgotten the question by then, of course? If you're going to be offering these services and you're diversifying into being a firm that's offering virtual CFO services and the other business advisory services, you will need to put in place a system whereby the client is encouraged to contact you with those questions, and someone receives them and takes the first step. Now, they might be able to get the answer straight back to the client, or they may be referring it to the partner or senior manager who is in charge of that client, but you need to have that system. You're not going to be offering these services on the basis that you only talk to the client even once a month. You need to have it that you can respond as the questions and the requests come to you where they're looking for things. And Jordan, we talked a little bit before we went on air about a chief operating officer type role. Do you want to comment on that?
Absolutely, Peter. Because I know we were talking about like a chief financial officer, and I think when we think about the functions of what an accountant plays in that, it aligns very much so with, you know, the chief financial officer sort of job description and the part that we would play in a business. However, I think when we're talking about diversifying services, it really is. I think we're not just stovepipe to a CFO. It is really if you want to provide a true value add, we're not going to be pigeonholed with that. We want to be a COO, a CEO, and a CFO. When you think about an effective CEO or a COO in an organization or a business, they are someone, they don't have to be a content expert area in everything, but they have a fair grasp and understanding of each key function of the business. And an accountant can do that when we talk about empathy as well. Empathy drives us to want to understand more and have a better understanding of our clients, how their business operates and how it functions by showing a personal interest. We're not just making it transactional, right? It's, if we truly care, our clients will see that we truly care, and it allows us as the accounting firm that supports them, as we add more value, we can charge more. And that's the reality of that. As we bring more value, this is how the relationship between client and accountant will evolve over time. And if we talk about a COO, understanding things such as business planning, strategy, growth, marketing, employee management, culture, compliance, whether that be ATO, fair work or work health safety, having an understanding of that and content experts available in-house or as a support network will allow you to be very, very effective in delivering that service to your clients.
Very important, I think. Yeah, well said. Okay, so we'll just keep on moving. Communication skills. Well, we live in a whole new world, don't we? We've now got Zoom and we've got other means of this sort of communication. It's very important that you make sure that your team have been trained, that they're confident to be able to speak in public, to talk to 2 people or 200 people, that they understand how to present Zoom seminars and webinars, and that you're able to promote these and understand that this is the modern way of communicating. We need to continue to promote, and if you're going to offer diversified services, I think one of the big challenges that a lot of accountants are facing is that there is not instant recognition by clients or even prospects that you're now able to offer a business advisory service or offer a virtual CFO service. You need to understand that your clients have got very used to the services that you provide, and your accounts, tax returns, perhaps audits, perhaps some financial planning. You've put yourself into that box. To move out of it, you need to be communicating. You need to be earning that trust. Your client already trusts you on those taxation and other matters that you're currently doing. But as you move into this broader range of services, you need to be able to convince them by communications that you can deliver on services that you may never have spoken to your clients about, because suddenly you start talking to them about their debtors' days outstanding. You start talking to them about protecting themselves on the personal property securities register. You talk to them about the way you could help them set their charge out rates a little bit better than what they may have been doing to try to achieve the profit target that's been set. So you need to communicate with them. And this can be through training your whole team, especially though the managers and partners, to be able to promote the diversified services that you're now offering. And that might be through social media articles. It might be through videos. It might be through running webinars. Your website needs to be looked at. Your website needs to be current and up to date, not talking about a seminar you ran 3 years ago or you were planning to run. As someone told me the other day, oops, we forgot to take that down. We didn't run it. But it looks a bit odd when it's still on a website 3 years later, if you're marketing yourself as being a forthright business advisory firm. Within
on that one, Peter,
yes.
Do you mind if I just chuck a bit of weight in there?
Yep.
I think it's, Peter, I've actually seen from yourself that you've got checklists for accountants to actually use when they look at their client's business. And I think that's a really good segue for accountants to actually start this discussion. Because if we just assume that they're going to ask us about sort of what services we offer outside of those traditional accounting services, it's never going to happen. So usually we would need to be the one that initiates the conversation. So what I think a really good way to do that is actually to touch base with those clients and actually do like a little bit of a business audit, such as, let's have a look at, not just the accountant's website, but you look at your client's website. Is it up to date? Is your logo modern? Is it current? Let's do an audit of your employment contracts. Let's see if they're up to date. Are there policies and handbooks in place? Do you have a work health safety policy? Right through to, do you have a business plan? When's the last time you did a business plan? That's a big question. Like a proper business plan, or when's the last time you looked at your business plan? There'll probably be some answers that say we have not done it for 3 years. Some people who have never done it. And then actually, once we've done that, that will give the accountant or the bookkeeper a really good lay of the land as to what potentially needs to be done. And then I would qualify that based on, and chat to the client and say, so which of these areas do you think as a business owner, here's some areas of concern, which if you could change tomorrow, or we could start tomorrow to actually, you think would have an impact on your business in a positive manner? And then the accountant has the ability to say, well, we actually believe we can help you with area A, B, and C, which is value add, potentially, more billable hours. And it's going to start that journey and that process of evolving that relationship outside of those traditional services. That would be the strategy that I would utilize. And I think it's a strategy that you can monetize quite quickly. But the thing is not, you are not just monetizing it and doing this to make money. It is about that relationship, and the clients will pay you for that value.
Yeah, yeah, well said, and thanks very much. Okay, we'll just. So based on what Jordan just said, actually, within ESS BIZTOOLS, we've got two main marketing tools for our subscribers to use. Business Plus is a monthly newsletter we produce, which our subscribers badge with their name and contact details. There's at least 6 articles there that are really directed at a cross-section of clients in business, someone starting up, someone that's been going for a while, someone that might be looking to scale up and grow their business, there might be articles on research and development. There's normally an article each month on grants. Do you know, if you're an exporter, that the Export Market Development Grant has changed and from 1 July this year? And if you're wanting to claim in this new financial year, you have to apply now. Applications open on the 16th of August and are still open under the 30th of November for what you want to spend in this current financial year on Export Market Development Grant. So there's always articles on issues. And what we suggest is the accountant looks at these articles and decides which clients could be interested in particular in individual articles, and then follow them up 4 or 5 days later and talk to them. Go and have a conversation, because this is how you will alert your client that you know something about a grant that they might be interested in, or a particular business problem that they have. And the other issue is the SME Needs Analysis. This is a series of questions to get your client thinking and asking questions, covering a whole range of issues. Are they satisfied with their business? Are they making enough money? Are they thinking about succession planning? Do they need more funding in the business? Could they look at trying to raise capital from the public as a crowdsourced funding equity raising company? Have they heard that their competitors are getting grants? Do they know anything about grants? Invariably, they'll then complain that their accountant doesn't tell them about grants. So there's a whole range of issues here that the SME Needs Analysis unlocks by having a conversation. The best way to do it is to make an appointment with your client and sit down with 1 or 2 cups of coffee and work your way through the issues. And I don't think you've been trying if you don't come away with at least an assignment that's going to take you 5 or 6 hours to prepare, to be honest, because most SMEs are looking for additional services. They don't want their accountants just to provide them the annual accounts and tax return. They need more help. So you need to then be conscious of the sort of products that you could offer. Tradies charge out rate calculator is one of our most popular. One of our subscribers uses it with over 100 firms each year. He utilizes it to set their charge out rates to achieve a profit. He then suggested that they have to produce monthly financial accounts, and he sits them down for a business review meeting. So he's getting somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 extra on 100 clients than what he was getting for the annual accounts and the tax return. That's $500,000 to $600,000 extra out of tradie clients, and they're very happy because they've got their own CFO in there helping them to better run their businesses. We've got charge out rates for professional firms, very similar to the tradies. We got a process which will help retailers or wholesalers analyze the stock mix and markup rates to achieve a targeted profit. And we've been talking at some length today about the virtual CFO service, which really covers a whole range of matters. But it doesn't mean that you're sitting there actually writing journal entries or doing computer postings. CFOs don't do that. It's looking at the broader context. How's all this fit into the broad business plan and the forward financial projections for the business? And especially those clients who want to scale up. What's scaling up mean? Someone's currently got a $1 million turnover and their vision is to have a $5 million turnover in 3 years. That's a journey getting to there. They will need money. A lot of them don't realize that, because as you grow a business, you need more money. because you end up with debtors getting bigger and bigger, bigger inventory levels, perhaps new premises. It all costs money, and you can help them. I think you should go with them on that journey, not just send them on their way to somewhere else. That's no way to get a new set of skills in your accountancy business. Debtors management strategies we've talked about. Analyzing even the very small businesses. How can you help them to grow? Because they need to grow if they're going to survive. Otherwise, within 3 years, they will be broke. One of the big opportunities we have in Australia now is what I call the innovation journey, because finally our governments have woken up that we need to be developing our own R&D. We read in the Financial Review nearly every day now about another Australian company that's produced 30-year-old billionaires. That's unbelievable when you go back a few years ago. It used to take people, families, generations. The Murdochs, the Packers, took generations to develop the billions of dollars within those family groups today. Today, through technology, some people are doing it in 10 years. Have you ever thought about helping your client on that innovation journey? And not everyone's becoming billionaires, of course, but some people are becoming very successful. It starts with research and development. Within ESS BIZTOOLS, we've got packages to help you undertake the research and development. They then will probably be very interested in trying to apply for the Accelerating Commercialization grant. If you don't know what that's about, you need to, and we can help you get that understanding, because it's one of the crucial grants in Australia. It's up to $1 million to help with commercialization. And perhaps your client, if they're small enough and young enough as a company, not as the individuals, might be interested in the early stage innovation company status, which is very attractive to investors. Or if they're a bit bigger, crowdsource funding, equity raising. They can raise $5 million in 12 months from the public. But they're going to need your assistance on the preparation of a business or a strategic plan. Jordan's talked about this business planning concept a few times today. It's very important. That's why he's saying it. He's an experienced business operator. And they need the predictive accounting, which is the new term which we've coined, looking for the projection of budgets, cash flow forecasts, and projected balance sheets. What's the financial picture that the business plan creates? You know, let's now go and have an artist put it into a painting. This is what this document, which might be 30 or 40 pages in a business plan, this is what it looks like in a financial projection. It's very important, and it's a lot easier for a lot of your clients to understand it. So you can help your clients in that journey. This is the opportunity for you to offer virtual CFO services. What do you think about this innovation type concept, Jordan, and helping clients on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important, Peter. Like you've said, there are a number of avenues that our clients are probably not aware of. Like you said, you know, there's crowdsource funding, there's ways to get finance, and money makes money, or access to money makes money. So I think accountants having an understanding of that for their clients it's good on a couple of fronts. Number one, it's an easy touch point, and it is that value add. And number two, it saves your clients going to the market without you, doing a Dr. Google search and potentially getting burnt by a lot of people out there happy to take your money, but it doesn't mean you're going to get a return on that investment. You know, it could be high interest rates, a number of factors. So actually letting clients know that, hey, in the event that we want to do this, and being proactive about that approach, they're going to get the right advice the first time is really important. So yes, Pete, I think it's very, very good.
Okay, thank you. So do you want to know more about the delivery of diversified accounting services? I hope you do. You can join us at ESS BIZTOOLS on this journey of diversification. We've got full packages which we're prepared based on my experience in public accounting, consulting, and as the company secretary, CFO of a listed public company. We've developed a special product package, which we call the starter package. It includes a lot. So I'm just going to go through this. If you want the full details, we're quite happy to send you an email. Please send me an email and request it. So we have a training package, because it's very important that you and your team understand what this is all about. This is different to tax. And that's what we're trying to convey to you today. And that's why I invited Jordan to join us in this webinar today. So you get an understanding with someone else also looking at this who's not an accountant. At least I don't think you are, Jordan, in your career, but you seem to know a lot about it. There's 13 modules in the training package. There's 12 client seminars to help you promote your services. So we've talked about you running seminars, but we've put 12 into the package. The PowerPoints, the handouts, they're all there. So they're ready for you. All you need to do is read the material and say, yeah, I can deliver that. There's 343 papers, strange number, but that's what it ended up at, that targeted at helping people in that very important commencement of their business in that first few years, on about 60 different subject headings. You can badge them and send them to your clients. You can charge them for them if you wish. The Business Plus newsletter I mentioned before, this is a crucial marketing tool for you to use. The debtors management package, survival in difficult times, is a package we're prepared to help people through the survival periods at present that we've got with COVID-19. There's 38 questionnaires, and from them there's suggested material that you could then make available to that client to help them understand how they're going to overcome their debtors days outstanding problem, or their understanding of how personal property securities register works, and why for some businesses it's quite important that they're registered on it. The tradies charge out rate calculator, the retail price calculator, professional service firms, which I mentioned before, business health checks, and more in-depth and benchmarking type reviews, so that you could be doing it each month for your client to give them comparisons. The walk-in rate into your shop last month was 3% of the shopping center as a total number of guests that walked in the front doors, and this information's available. But the month before it was 6%. What caused the drop? That type of analysis is very important, and businesses don't pick up on it. It's the role that you can be playing, making sure that's produced. We have a SME debtor systems manual, which helps the business to develop its own customized manual. And there's 4 leadership modules out of a total of 16 we have in our total product package to help you develop your leadership skills within your business. And you get 2 one-hour individual training sessions, and there's a monthly groups subscribers webinar. And you get monthly communications via a monthly publication we put out. Now, the cost for that is normally $2,100, but we have a special offer for friends and associates of Blackstone Business Group, Jordan's organization. Our upfront subscription is $900. This is available under the 4th of October, $900 including GST, and you can get started on delivering business advisory services to your clients. I don't think you'll get a better deal, and we guarantee our products. If you're not satisfied after 60 days, we will refund your money. Our job in that 60 days is to make sure you're very satisfied, of course, and that you are using it. And hopefully by then you've already recouped your $900 in extra professional fees. So we also have, thanks to Jordan Lowry, a special offer from Blackstone Business Group if you subscribe to us in this current promotion. Jordan, do you just want to talk about what you're offering to do with people? Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. As you can see, that offer there is if in the event that a client does need employment contracts, it may even be during your own firm needs employment contracts. That package includes a contractor's agreement, a casual employment contract, part-time agreement and a full-time agreement. Obviously, we tailor that up to suit your business. Are there motor vehicles, salary packages? And there have been a number of changes that Fair Work have required to be put into contracts, namely things such as with casual employment contracts, actually letting employees know that, hey, this is a casual engagement. Your rate actually includes a 25% loading. You get this rather than accruing things such as annual leave. We've seen that because there have been a number of instances where there have been long-term casuals, and there hasn't been casual conversion offered. And then, so they've requested back payment, which is at the higher rate of pay, which includes that loading. So there's been a number of things that have happened like that. Salaried agreements need to state how many hours we've actually calculated that agreement on. So in the event that we pay someone $100,000 and we require them to work 48 hours a week because it's a senior management position, we actually have to stipulate that in the contract. Because, and a number of times employers would say, you know what, it's $100,000, we're going to pay you to 38 ordinary hours plus reasonable overtime, because that was getting taken advantage of. We're seeing Fair Work now saying, well, no, if they're going to work 50 hours a week, and your contract says 38 plus reasonable overtime, well, you need to pay those additional 12 hours at penalty rates based on $100,000 across 38 hours. So the back pay arrangements over 6 months up to 5 years, as depending on how long someone's been engaged in the business, can be quite substantial. So really, really important to review your clients' contracts, their policies and procedures. And that's what we really wanted to offer, is to say, let us, if you want to send a copy through, we'll give you a detailed review of that. If they're great, we'll tell you. And in the event you want to take our suggestions and do it in-house, we have no dramas with that, but we've also priced it accordingly. So if you want to outsource that to us, we would be happy to help.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jordan. And to take advantage of Jordan's offer, there is a form on the ESS BIZTOOLS website, which I am coming to in a moment. Our other affiliates have also included offers, so I'll go through these. Selling the Message. Brad Smart is a communications expert, so he will write your first customer email or newsletter, and that offer is for the first 10 firms. That's starting now, so if you are interested, you need to subscribe to ESS BIZTOOLS and get this application in. Smith Inc. Are running a Young Guns conference on the Gold Coast in February, and there's a discounted subscription fee that Mark Holton, the director of Smith Inc., has arranged. Cloud9 Associates, the director is Priscilla B. Smith. They have CPD hours at a discount, but the obligation is that you have to complete the review for them, and then you'll be reimbursed the cost of the small business concession course. Now, full details of all these offers are on our website, and I'll show you how to go there in a moment. Beyond Accounting Technologies, Paul Barnaby, he is going to offer a predictive accounting review. Normally costs $695 at no charge for the first 20 firms, starting now. Amanda Gascoigne Consulting. Amanda is offering a small and solo practice coaching session. No charge for the first 10 firms from now, and that have subscribed to the ESS BIZTOOLS promotion. So if you're interested in the full details of what's in those affiliate packages, which we're very grateful to Jordan and to the other affiliates that I've just gone through, please go to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, and scroll down and select Learn about the other ESS BIZTOOLS products, and then you will see the affiliates offer there. And if you want to subscribe to ESS BIZTOOLS, you want to take advantage of this $900 special offer for friends and clients of Blackstone Business Group, please go to our website, www.essbiztools, and click on to subscribe to Business Advisory Services Starter Package. But you're getting a special discount that I've negotiated with Jordan. So please enter this code, BASSPPBG. I'll just repeat that in case you want to write it down. BASSPBBG. Now, if you forget it or you wrote it down incorrectly, just contact our office and we will get it to you. So it's 1-800-232-088, 1-800-232-088. If you need any further information on anything that I've discussed today or Jordan's discussed, please contact me, Peter at essbiztools.com.au, or telephone me. And Jordan, I'm just going to come back to you. Can you now just give your email or your contact details? Thanks.
No worries, Peter. Anyone that wants to reach out can contact me directly on Jordan, Jordan, at blackstonebg for businessgroup.com.au. So that's Jordan at blackstonebg.com.au. Direct mobile number 0418 287 730, and happy to assist in any way that we can.
And if you forget those numbers, you can just contact ESS BizTools and we will pass on the details for you. Jordan, thank you very much for joining us today. You have really brought to the fore your detailed business knowledge and obviously the knowledge that you've developed as you have worked as a key consultant in this very important area of human resources, workplace health and safety, and Fair Work Australia. So thank you very much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having me, Peter. Really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you everyone for watching this webinar, and we look forward to talking to you again, hopefully when you've subscribed to ESS BizTools. Have a great day, and if you're in the lockdown areas, please be safe, and we look forward hopefully to not too far in the future where everyone can move around in Australia again on a safety basis. Okay, thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Peter. See you all.
Thank you.